Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode on API trading with dYdX. I'm Kayman, I'm your Senior Solutions Engineer at the dYdX Foundation, and I'm going to talk today about how you can actually set uh, orders and cancel them using the API client. So, all right, let's get started. I'm not going to go too deep because you should just watch the previous episodes if you want to have an overview. But very, very high level is what you do. You set up the dYdX v4 client, whether it's in Python, Rust, C++, or any other programming language or your own client. What you want to do is use that high level client in order to interact with the protocol and the chain itself. What you need is your public address and your private keys. You can get them by connecting your wallet to the dYdX front end. This will generate a dYdX address, and then from there on, you can also export that. If you want some feedback on whether your orders have succeeded, whether your code is correctly, you'll want to use a WebSocket to subscribe to your sub account in order to get more real-time updates whether your trades have gone through. And then finally, this is outside of the scope of this webinar, but you want to develop a strategy that decides based on the signals, based on your algo, whether to buy or sell, and then you trigger the V4 client. And finally, you can set up your own node, which is very specific for DEXs in order to improve the performance, in order to have more custom and flexibility. And you can also set up your own local order book in order to get pricing, the bids and asks, the different layers of the order book that you would want to feed into your algorithm. So very short, you can go to the repo, so the V4 clients repo, and you can have a look at the examples for the WebSocket. So when you set up a WebSocket, basically what you do is you're just going to run a Python command, and it will show you the information of your sub account in a JSON format. So you can see here your sub accounts, whether your order had a certain status, is if it's still open or not, um, until when, what is the ticker, and so on. So all the information will there be available when you subscribe to the WebSocket. Next is when you start and place cancel orders. So what you basically do is you're going to construct a order ID, and this is important to identify the order. So with your sub accounts, with your address, you can set a client ID. In this case, we're just going to select a random one, and whether it's a short term or long term, that is a certain flag. And once you pass all of these parameters that you can set, you can define what type of size, what type, whether it's a side, is a sell or a buy, what is the price. Once you set all of this, you just submit that to the node alongside with your wallet details, because that is the one information that you cannot do um, without a wallet. So if you don't have your private keys, you will not be able to place and cancel orders. What you can do is listen to someone else's account. Like if you have someone else's address, you could listen to that. But if you don't have the wallet address and private keys, you cannot place orders. And then the final step is that you can go onto the UI to see whether your order was placed or canceled. You could use MinScan, or you could use the WebSocket then to get feedback whether that has gone through. So MinScan, you can go to minscan.io slash dYdX.testnet and the TX, and then the TX hash that you will receive from the API once you put an order. All right, so that's the high level overview that we'll be looking into today. Let's go to our favorite IDE. I have already the setup. If you have not done the setup, please check the previous video on how to set that up. We are going to continue where we left off. And I'm going to open the documentation and open the using WebSocket here. Again, I'm going to open the markdown rendered file, and you can have a look here what happens with the WebSocket. So what you're going to do is import the WebSocket async AO. You need your testnet address and ETH. And what you're going to do is you're going to get information from the WebSocket indexer, and you're going to decide which channel to subscribe. So there's different channels that you can subscribe. There's markets, there's order book, there's the different trades, the price candles, and there's sub account information. And then what we are going to do is keep this connection alive as long as possible in order to get immediate feedback once something has been once something is happening. The next thing is we'll be wanting to place orders. I'm going to open that again in Markdown view. So orders, we've seen this as well. So we're going to import the order, pass on all of the parameters, and basically send that to the node. So that is also pretty straightforward. And then for canceling orders, it is very similar, but what we just need is what we need is to have that order ID in order to pass that to the cancel order. All right, so let's take a look at the WebSocket part. So I have the WebSocket example code here open. And what you immediately see is that there's an import section, there's a market that you set, and then there's the handle message and the channels that you subscribe to. Perhaps let's take a look at just a market subscribe. I have already set up my environment. I have already, I just want to test whether the WebSocket is working. So I'm just going to run that. And it's also always good to just subscribe to one of the channels in order to not clutter all of the different messages through each other and to have just the messages that you want. I'm just going to run this first to see if everything is working correctly. Okay, so it seems that, oh, custom testnet, of course. So this should still be the testnet. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to run that. Okay, yes, here we go. So we have the WebSocket running, and these are the markets. So this all looks pretty good. Okay, perfect, perfect. So I'm going to do the same steps that we did last time as well. So we're going to set up our custom testnet, and we are going to load the same parameters that we did last time. And if you have not seen this, please also take a look at the previous video. So again, we are going to connect to our custom testnet. And this time I'm not going to subscribe to the markets, but I want to subscribe to my own address. And that is because I want to see what is happening under my address, not someone else's address, right? Or public market. This is the interesting part. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go to minscan, sorry, to the dYdX front end, and I'm going to connect my wallet. I'm going to sign the onboarding message again, and there you go. Here is my wallet address. So I'm going to copy my wallet address here. This is my dYdX wallet address. I'm going to paste that here and save it again. And this time, if I run the WebSocket again, you'll see that it is not printing as much, right? Because nothing is happening. It is connected to my address. And here you can verify that. So this is my address, and the contents of it is that it's just subscribed. It shows my equity, my free collateral, my open perpetual positions, but nothing more than that. So nothing is happening at this very moment. Okay, so we're going to leave this WebSocket open. If you want to subscribe to other channels, you could also open other terminals and subscribe to those. Okay, I'm going to highlight this and just see if anything changes when we are going to start putting in orders. I'm going to open the market order example here. And just to make sure, I'm going to go again into the right path. Pi v2, yes, this should be correct. And we're going to open the poetry shell. Make sure that you're always using a virtual environment and that you have the correct environment set up. Yes, okay, here we go. So everything's set up. And all right, the structure is very similar. We're going to do imports. We're going to set the market. We're going to use a async function to place the order. And what you may notice this time is that not like next to the node setup, there's also market, wallet, order ID, and here's the order itself. And then you place the order on the node with your wallet and order as we showed in the PowerPoint. Also, after doing that, you will have to increase the wallet sequence in order to not, like you always do that to increase the nonce in order so that the order that it goes to the node, that it is respected and that there's no race condition and that you don't put the same nonce twice. And then here you run that async IO. All right, so we are going to follow the same structure. We're again going to load our custom endpoint. So we do this every time. So don't forget to do this. So we're going to connect to our custom testnet. So for both the node and for the indexer data, just make sure that nothing is forgotten. Okay, that is good. And then we are going to do something we haven't done before, and that is to load our wallet. And to load our wallet, we need our private key and our testnet address. The testnet address is pretty simple. So we can already copy that. I'm going to copy, okay, you see that I can copy that here. And you also need to provide that to the marketer. So I'm going to do that at the same time. But the test mnemonic is not something that I want to paste here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an environment file in order to put my API key and then just import that into my Python script. So let's go ahead and install python.env in order to import environment files. Okay, I've done that. And then I'm going to import. I'm just going to use this code. So from .env import load.env. I'm going to use import OS as well. And then I'm going to load.env. And I'm going to set this API key. And I'm going to get it. Okay, so I'm going to get it from my environment file. And I'm going to get the API key variable. And I will define that in this .env file here. Here is the API key variable, and I will have to put in my private keys here. So where do I get those from? If I go to the interface again, I can export that here, export secret phrase, and I'll have to tick that there's risk in sharing your secret phrase. That will change when permission keys come out. And if I click reveal secret phrase, there will be a 24 words that I can copy and that I can paste. I will not do that on screen. You should also never do that. And I will put that here. So here's the secret phrase. Oh, sorry. I will have to put that secret phrase here, put here, and then I will be ready to go. So it will get me the API key here. I will then be able to leverage this API key right here in my wallet. I can then reference to the API key, and that is it. So that's how I set up my wallet. So that's the second thing. So the first thing was the custom network. The second thing was making sure that I'm going to place orders from my account, from my sub account. And then the third thing is I will select the market. So I will select ETH/USD here, and that will automatically select me the right ID for ETH/USD by doing a get call to the indexer. For those that want to set it themselves, you could actually do that by going to the indexer.dYdX.trade v4 perpetual markets, and then you could see that here, ETH/USD. You could see what the information about the ETH/USD pair is. So I will get that market ID, and I will then also set the order ID. That is the fourth thing that I will need to set. So I will use my address, which I just copied over. I set sub account 0. I can set a client ID. This can be any random number between 0 and the maximum allowable client ID. And you can use that to identify your trades later on. I'm just going to use a random one. And then since it's a market order, I'm going to set this as a short-term order. Okay, so this is what is needed to identify your order. And if you're going to cancel an order, this is the this is it. This is the object that you need to set. And that order ID is the first parameter in our order. So we pass that along. The next one is the order type. So we will set order type as market. So there are different order types. If you want to have a look, there's limit, there's market, there's stop limit, different order types. So we're just going to stick to a market order type here. We're going to set the order side to sell, side.sell. There's also side buy if you want to long. So I'm going to short here. So I'll just set side to sell. You can define the size, the price. So since this is a short, I can set this to 0. But in case I want to long, I will have to set this to Oracle price, or like at least closer to Oracle price. The time in force, that is just how long it stays valid. So there's different things you could set, like unspecified. Then it will just add that to the book and match, and anything that is left that will be added to the book as a market order. You could also use post only, or you could use fill or kill. So I guess these are standard things. Then the next variables is reduce only. I'm not, like, I haven't opened the position yet, so I'll set that to false. And then specifically, I will want to set the block valid time. So I have to get the latest block height from the indexer, from the node again, like what is the latest block height. And then I will add 10, just to make sure that, okay, 10 blocks, that should remain valid. The max is 20 blocks, so you wouldn't want to set that too high. And then I will add my wallet details that I just defined from here, and then this new order that we defined, and then place that onto the node. Increase that sequence and set this size that I want to place. So 0.005, that should be good for now. So let me just put that market order in right now. So if all is good, it seems that pub key does not match. Did I not save? Okay, I did not save that. So this is also good to see. So you cannot place a order if that is not your own private key and you're not your own address. Let me put that in right now. And right now it does go through. So that is good news. We saw that there's a short-term transaction hash. And let's go to the let's go to the WebSocket, and you will see that now there was a best effort opened. You can see that it was also short. So here you can see that my position was opened and that there was also a fill here. So, okay, so it seems that this order was immediately filled. It was opened. You can see that in the messages. So let's take a look on the UI. All right, so we have our position here open, 0005 short, and you can see that this was just posted. All right, that seems to be going well. All right, awesome. So I think another thing we want to try now is to cancel orders. We have a good example here with a long-term order example, so perhaps let's try that as well. So we're going to do the same setup that we did for the market order, right? I hope you remember. We can just copy all of this. We can reuse all of that, but just don't forget to use the custom network, to set the API key, and to use that address. Yeah, I could, of course, make those all parameters at the beginning. But since this code can all be changed very quickly, this is okay for now. So I think this is all set. Did I forget anything else? Nope. All right, so we're going to set a long-term order now, and we're going to cancel that. And as I mentioned, the only difference here is a couple things. So we're going to set the flags to a long-term order here, and this should be a limit order. So not a market order. We're going to place a limit order this time. We're going to short as well. We're going to set the price to 40,000. Doesn't really matter that much because we're going to cancel it anyway, and it should stay on the book. It shouldn't It shouldn't fill immediately, and the rest we will keep very similar. So here we can set that, since it's a long-term order, we can set that longer. So for example, 60 seconds. We're going to increase the sequence again and leave a little bit of time for the order to execute, because this one will go on chain. So just to recall, the short-term order stays in the validator's local mempool. It doesn't go on chain immediately until it's matched. For a long-term order, this goes on chain immediately. So let's leave a little bit of time for it to go on chain. And after it's placed on chain, we will identify this order via the order ID, and then we will cancel that and let it remain also for a little bit. That is the plan of attack this time. So let me go ahead and run that. So let's run that and see what happens. All right, I see a transaction hash immediately appearing. So as I said, it is on chain, so we can actually go and look that up. All right, nice. So it seems that this one was placed for 40,000 under my account just over 10 seconds ago. And we can see that the cancellation has gone in as well. We can also look that up on MintScan again. And that one has gone in 20 seconds as well, a cancel order. So that seems to be running well. Go have a look at the WebSocket. The WebSocket may or may not have picked that up. Reason user canceled. Okay, so I see a cancellation. So that seems to be correct as well. So now let's go take a look. Sometimes it appears, sometimes it does not. So it seems that the order should have been placed and canceled, and everything is working pretty fine. Nice, 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 nice. All right, guys, that is it, what I wanted to show. Nice. All right, cool. That's what I wanted to show for today. That is how you do the basics of placing orders and cancel orders. So if you guys have any other questions, or if there's anything else you want to see, you can come into our Discord. You could also have a look at on any of the other examples that are already in the repo, because now we've only gone over just a market order, a long-term place and cancel, but you can also go over the short-term orders. Like, there's so many other things that you can still explore, but these are the basics. So thank you guys very much. Feel free to reach out if there's anything. We have a pretty active community in the Discord, or if you want to look at other webinars in the future, please scan this QR code. So that is it for today. Thank you all, and talk soon.